Hey, welcome back to the No State Project channel. I'm Mark Stevens, and another story. This is a story. These are kind of stories I don't see too often, but I really enjoy them when I do get them. And it's about another rich douchebag, another rich jerk, actually was prosecuted and convicted. So if you like to hear stories like that, or if you have stories that I have not presented on the show, on here on the channel, let me know in the comments if you are, especially if you're against or you would disagree with this. But this is very, very uncommon. The wealthy in worldwide, what happened after the Panama Papers and then the follow-up. Because nothing happens typically to the ultra wealthy. I'm not talking about somebody who made $1 million in real estate. I'm talking about people who have hundreds. Somebody who can pay $1 million fine without even thinking twice about just having their accountant pay for it, and it doesn't bother them at all. I'm talking about, somebody who can pay $17 million cash for a house. I'm talking about really wealthy people tend to do whatever the hell they want, and there's no ramifications. Even if they are prosecuted, like the DuPont, well, this is a horrible story, and I did a video about this a while back, but when a DuPont heir raped a child, his own child, the judge, no jail time. Child rape. That is, so you smoke a joint. And if you happen, if you're poor and you smoke a joint, you get the book thrown at you. If you're really, really wealthy, like the Sackler family, you could be responsible for rapes and deaths and fungal, nothing. So it's extremely rare here. So it's really nice to see. So this is the story I'm talking about. Elisabeth Holmes sentenced to 11 years in prison for Theranos fraud. And there she is. And I guess they're trying to go for some sympathy there because she's pregnant. And she's, unlike the poor, doesn't matter if you're pregnant or not. You're convicted, you go, even if you're not convicted, if you can't pay bail, you go to jail and you have your child in jail. But when you're the privileged rich, then, you get to stay out of prison and have your baby first. Not something that's accorded to most of us. Elisabeth Holmes, the former chief executive of the blood testing startup Theranos, was sentenced on Friday to more than 11 years in federal prison for her role in defrauding, this is the important part here, defrauding investors out of hundreds of millions of dollars. I think it was practically $1 billion in investment that she defrauded these people out of, because these so-called blood tests were fake. They weren't real. And what's disgraceful here, she was actually found not guilty of where she really caused damage, where she was giving false tests to people who thought they didn't have cancer anymore, or that they had a viable pregnancy when they had actually miscarried. I mean, it was horrible. She was not convicted of that. But what she was convicted of, like it says here, this is why the rich, see, if you defraud the poor, see, someone like Trump, and his supporters, he can bilk them, he can grift them out of hundreds of millions of dollars, not prosecuted. But this woman went after the mega rich. She went after Betsy DeVos was one of her investors. She is ultra wealthy, and she was in the Trump administration. She was defrauded. Now, you defraud a billionaire, you will go to prison. Unless you're pregnant, and then you get to have the baby first. Okay. So this was her cardinal sin. If you're rich and you're going to want to get away with your crimes, you got to attack the poor. Grift the poor. That's why Trump is such a great criminal. He grifts the poor. You don't grift the rich. Because just like what we, a number of years ago, with the tech bro, Martin Shkreli, same thing that happened with the Ponzi scheme, Bernie Madoff. You don't make victims of the ultra wealthy. They will make sure, or the system works for them. They're oligarchs like Elon Musk. You defraud Elon Musk, you're going to jail. You are going to prison, even if you yourself are rich. So Martin Shkreli, same thing as Bernie Madoff, same thing as this of Elisabeth Holmes. So here we can say Ms. Holmes, this is the New York Times, Ms. Holmes was found not guilty on 4 other counts related to defrauding patients who had used Theranos' blood tests. They weren't rich. They weren't wealthy. They weren't privileged. They weren't, so that you know, they're going to have to find some other avenue of some kind of redress against this monster. And yeah, friggin' monster. As most mega rich people like Elon Musk and well, Trump's not as rich as Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, but a real vile individual here. So this is really a good sign, I think. I always like to see where rich douchebags like this are held to some account. It sucks that they have to only be held accountable when they go after the rich. Because if Harvey Weinstein had just been going after poor people, if his victims were just poor girls, he wouldn't be on trial. He wouldn't have been convicted, and he wouldn't be on trial now. But he went after rich, privileged people, and that just doesn't wash with this two-tiered so-called justice system. And it's not just here in the United States; it's all over. That's why I think it's a good sign that they did appoint a special counsel or prosecutor schooled in corruption cases against this scumbag Trump, who is mind-blowingly criminal and vile. So I'm hoping this is a good sign. We got this monster, Elisabeth Holmes, privileged rich person, 11 years in prison for fraud. Maybe, finally, now that they have a veteran public corruption and war crimes prosecutor, Jack Smith, taking over 2 Trump-related criminal investigations. Maybe finally, this rich douchebag will be held to some account for his just torrent of crimes. But I'm a little more hopeful, but we'll have to see how that washes out. So that's going to do it for this particular video. Always a good thing when some rich douchebag is held accountable for their unethical and criminal behavior. So I always like to see that. That's going to do it for this particular video. Thanks for watching. And if you'd like to help support the No State Project channel, and it's great that I was able within a week to get another video out, but it would really help if you want to help support the channel. You may do so by going to my PayPal link in the description. And for a support of the show, you can get a copy of Government Indicted or one of the awesome Anarchy t-shirts made right here in Mesa, Arizona. Just let me know in an email what you would like. So again, thanks for watching.